Welcome back to Land of the Wombats. It's your bad old Uncle Chris here again to talk to you about some off-grid pirate lifestyle stories. And we've had about 5 weeks now with no significant rain, and it's in the middle of summer, as you do. The weather has been quite hot during that time, and the entire place has dried out. Now right behind me are these monster plastic things. These are the house tanks, and generally the storage here is about 50,000 litres of water, or that's 13,000 US gallons, and they collect water from off the roof of the house. So it's stored in here, it just rolls down the hill by gravity, and at the moment we are about this level here, which is about 50%, I'd say. And yesterday we were down to about there. We had to pump water back up the hill from the reserves. So that's a story we'll get to in a second. Just before we go down and have a look at the reserve tank, I just want to point out this is a pump arrangement. Now this is a fire shield in case there's a bushfire. It just stops the radiant heat from cutting out the pump due to thermal overload. And that additionally has another galvanized steel cover over the actual pump, so it's actually quite well protected from the elements. But to get water back uphill, you need electricity. Otherwise, you're going to be carrying it up the hill in buckets. There's no other way to do it. And yeah, this is what it takes. This other giant plastic monster is the house overflow tank. So when those top two tanks overflow, the excess water flows down into here, and then when this fills up, it flows further down into a swale where the water can actually penetrate into the ground. Because I mean, there's only so much water you can store, and eventually they do all fill up. So yeah, we have drained this tank. As you'd imagine. Well, normally in summer we do. That's the whole purpose of this tank. But you know, some summers when it hasn't rained for 5 weeks, you need a little bit more water. So our other largest reserves are this long line of water tanks, which feeds in from the roof on the machinery shed, and bizarrely it's the same capacity as the house overflow tanks. So it's about 34,000 litres, or about 9,000 US gallons. Now, we didn't really intend to actually draw on this reserve, but it's been super dry. So this week we've had to install a very, very large and powerful electric pump here to be able to lift the water the 20 metres, or about, 60 feet back uphill to the house water tanks. And this is working superbly. Now, at the moment, it looks like a bit of a dodgy setup, because it is, and it's just a proof of concept. Does this system work? And we've run it for a couple of hours, and it's done beautifully. So we've actually brought maybe about 7,000 litres, 7,000 or 8,000 litres back up the hill. That's about 2,000 US gallons, and we're starting to replenish the tanks. These haven't been used that much this year. You'd be amazed. The garden itself actually doesn't require a lot of water, and particularly the orchard. The soils are very, very well fed, and despite 5 weeks of virtually no rain, the plants are doing fine. The only plants that we've had to actually water are some of the younger fruit trees, and that's in this enclosed area. And you can also see we've started to put fence extenders on the on that particular enclosure to keep the deer out. I really, really hate the deer. They're a pain. You can see some of the trees, particularly the plums, the deer have pretty much destroyed, so I'm very, very unhappy with them, and they'll get a very nasty response. But for the moment, yeah, it's no big deal. So yeah, one of the interesting things about buying a cheap block of land is that there are no services, and the things that people take for granted, such as, you know, town water and town sewer and all that, those are very expensive bits of infrastructure to install. But, you know, you get a lot of freedoms as well too, so that's a good thing. But you have no services. So if we run out of water, that's it. So it's a resource that really, really has to be managed closely and well. And, you know, we don't know when the rains will return. Maybe they will in probably April, but we've still got to get through the next 3 weeks of March. And the weather has been really, really hot this year. It's been crazy. Anyway, that's enough of my whinging. We will see you all next week. Take it easy.